It's that time, folks. It's time for your board game dessert. It's time for Game Pie. Of course, Game Pie is when Mandy and I serve up a selection of games based on our whims and our excellent taste because we hate ranking things, but we do love a tasty pastry. Hence, we love to serve up a Game Pie full of all of these lovely games just for you. And heyo, if you are a regular watcher and listener, you will know last episode we did the first game pie of our favorite games from 2015. But I'm telling you, 2015 was such a mammoth year. I mean, Mandy, you and I were digging in. We're like, oh no, there's too many games.
So many games. Oh my
More than
goodness.
one games pie war. So here we are back with the second part of the game pie of our favorite games from 2015. And if you have joined, there are comments in the YouTube. Thank you so much for everybody who commented on the video. And thank you to everybody who chimed in on the Board Game Geek Guild. Mandy wanted to
Mm,
point out some of the folks in the Board Game Geek Guild. They had good notes too for us before we dig into our second half. So from the guild, S. Vanderbrink mentioned Quinto, Heyo, lined with you, and
yes.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Now, I wanted to put Pandemic Legacy into the list, but I haven't played season 1, so I couldn't.
We
Have
can't
you
even get
played
through
season 1?
season we can't even get through season 0, okay, Suzanne?
I
That's like the never-ending game.
I
Not because we
know.
don't like it, just
Oh,
because
yeah.
we live far away.
Phenomenal game, phenomenal game. So good call out. I'm glad that S. Vanderbrink
Uh,
mentioned that one. Paul Oman said that, I mean, agreed that 2015 was a great year, that 6 games from that year rate a 9 to him, including Seven Wonders Duel, cool, and Matainai. I also
wow.
really like Matainai. Carl mentioned Star Wars Risk, which I think is underappreciated in the hobby sometimes. And I love that Carl called that one out. And
Nice.
Nathan mentioned, hmm, Code Names, which, of course, wow, Code Names was 2015. Had like time flies.
Right? Oh my
So
goodness.
thanks everybody for your comments in the guild. Love what you brought up there. Mandy, to refresh people's memories, do you want to mention the games that we brought up in our round one pie real quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll start with Suze. Suze, you've had a really nice list here. Oh, look at that. You had Above and Below, Stockpile, Holmes, Sherlock, and Mycroft, and Arboretum. Arboretum holds such special
Stabby trees.
memories. I know, right? And on my list, I noticed that my list is like ridiculously like heavy. So, Food Chain Magnate, The Gallerist, Grand Austria Hotel, and Quinto. So, ended on a lighter note,
Mostly,
which
yeah.
yeah,
You
just that
went up
last
on
one.
them there, yeah. Excellent list. So that's the first half, but here we are to wrap up. And honestly, I could probably do a third one because the 2015
Yeah,
was amazing. But we'll cap it here. Mandy, would you like to serve up the first slice of our second half?
absolutely. So my first slice of part 2 of best games of 2015 for me, and I've mentioned this game before, is Fury of Dracula. It hurt my heart. Um, I just couldn't get it to the table. So I know this is a
Oh.
weird one. So it's like, oh, you don't still have it? I don't, but not because I wanted to get rid of it. I didn't. But space is at a premium, and my friends basically said no, they weren't into it. So and Fury Dracula is one of those ones where it's like, one against many, like somebody's Dracula, everybody else are, the people trying to hunt down Dracula. And I mean, I don't generally love those kinds of games, but this one, it just worked for me. I know it's a little on the longer side. It's been through a few iterations. Um, I don't know. I thought it was good. And I've heard rumors that there's a new edition coming out. I don't know when, but you know what?
I
I
think
would
I
rebuy it.
saw that one
Did you?
too.
Something about it. I know there's an app.
Yeah.
Didn't love the app so much, I'll be honest with you. But the
Mhm.
board game itself, thoroughly enjoyed. I'm definitely I don't even care if it sits there and I'm the only one enjoying looking at it. Fury of Dracula, I definitely will be picking that up yet again.
Yep, I love it. Great choice. And I understand the choice, the decision you had to make about your collection too.
Yeah. Mm.
First slice up this time for me is The Game. Worst named game ever, but so good. The Game, good luck searching it up anywhere because they called it
Yeah.
The Game. This is a simple cooperative game where you are working with your co-players to play cards as numerically in order as possible. It I've played this hundreds of times with my family. It's so approachable and lovely. And of course, the original German edition has this skull motif that's very dark and grim. And then Pandasaurus released an updated version with Quanti
Right.
Moria art that's much more colorful and kind of a cool abstract look. And I own a number of copies of it because I never want to be without I never want to be without the game. So I have multiple copies of it. So that's my first slice this time.
Very good pick, and I have to tell you, I don't have a lot, but I end up getting them and giving them away just
Mhm.
because I meet so many people. They're like, "Oh, this game's so good." I'm like, "Oh, well, you know what? Why don't you take this one?" And friend's mom, quick story, was in the hospital, and she had some surgery on her brain, and this was one of the games that actually got her through. She just borrowed my copy, and I said, "You know what? Why don't you just keep it?" So, if it's gonna help, and that's a game that has been doing a lot of helping for
Mhm.
others, so
Mhm.
happy about that. Okay, well, the next on my list is one, again, that I don't get played very often, but this one I feel is more likely to get played because it's a worker placement, even though it's a smidge cutthroat, and that is Argent the Consortium. I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and I shouldn't, because I don't usually like games that are mean or kind of cutthroat in any way. But I love Trey Chambers, the designer, and I like a few of Trey's games actually. And this one, just the theming of it, University of Magic, worker placement, engine building. It has all the key elements that I enjoy. The cutthroat part you learn to love, but it kind of works, so you don't feel as bad doing mean things. So for me, Argent the Consortium, another one I'd love to get back to the table soon, but definitely one that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, love this one where workers have different powers, and that's so good. Yeah.
Yes.
Next
Amazing.
slice up for me, Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King. Long title. I just call it Isle of Skye.
Yeah.
This is a great I cut you choose tile laying game. So you're kind of setting prices on tiles that your opponents can buy. But there's reasons why you want to balance that pricing really carefully. And then you're building out a tableau with sheep and beer. So a great tile laying I cut you choose game, very, very clever, some very cool scoring in it as
Yeah.
well, and how that works. The complete package from a game point of view to me, and that's Isle of Skye
I love
from
Sky.
Chieftain to King.
Yes. I actually, someone who listens to the podcast, and it's funny, I haven't heard from John in a long time. I think you know who I'm talking about. John actually brought this
Oh,
game to
John Brown?
me. Yeah, I feel like I haven't heard from John in a long time. I hope, John, if you're listening, I hope you're doing well. But John was kind enough to give this game to me. We did a little trade, some Canadian snacks and other things, but it was a very kind gesture because it was hard to find and I had never played it. And guess what? I still haven't played it.
Oh
So
no, oh no. Well, and if people are curious about Isle of Skye and they haven't heard of it because it's a decade old or whatever, this is from one of the main designers is Alexander Pfister, who of course is known for a huge range of excellent games, including things like Great Western Trail and Black at Hong Kong, Maracaibo, things like that. Very big, very complex games. And here we have Isle of Skye as well. And I know
nope,
you're a Pfister fan,
I made a
so
mistake.
oh,
It's not Isle of Skye. Oh my gosh. Wow, this is how you know all that I'm tired? I
that's
should have
okay.
known from the title. My gosh, I didn't think it was that long. Fields of Arle is
Oh,
what
that's a
I was
completely
thinking
different
of.
okay.
It is a totally different
And
game.
much bigger, so yeah.
So, actually, Isle of Skye for me was mid. I'm sorry.
Okay, moving along.
Okay,
How
moving along.
dare.
Sorry,
No,
mistakes
it's
were made.
fair.
But
This
all
is
in
why
all,
we do these things because
this is it.
everybody.
But John, I really do hope you're doing well. My apologies. Okay, next game for me on my list is Dead of Winter. Kind of like what's happening right now. This thought of Isle of Skye is dead in winter. So Dead of Winter is this is a John Gilmore?
Yeah,
And I think Isaac Vega also worked on
Isaac, yeah,
this
yeah.
as
Yep.
well, if I'm
Oh,
not
definitely Isaac
mistaken.
Vega. Yep.
Yes, definitely Isaac. And I know John Gilmore did as well. And literally that. It's a bunch of people that are trying to escape zombies and bad things chasing them in this town. And it's one of these games where you can play with like 5 players. It plays up to 5. It is a heavy game. It definitely takes some narrative, like RPG kind of elements, because you've got some dice rolling, attacking, that sort of thing. And everybody has like abilities that they're using to try to keep these locations from being overrun from zombies and things like that. So this is one of those games where a lot of people feel like, yeah, this is a great one to learn. It's not if you're just learning a game because it's a really big one, but it's a fun one. So Dead of Winter's one. I love it, and I feel like the people who worked on it as well, Jonathan and Isaac, I've gotten to know and really appreciate their work. So for me, Dead of Winter is a winner.
And see, here's one where we're gonna not disagree, but I don't love zombies, and
Yes, fair.
so this one's one, good game. Don't and the system is awesome, and the system's used in other games, but yeah, Dead of Winter,
Right.
I played it, I'm good because of zombies.
That's fair.
Alright, so, going back to another undead game though, Mysterium came out in 2015, or Dominice Demestro, which is
Mm,
pronounced totally wrong because that's the Polish name, but
right.
that's when we first played it, and I just fell in love with it completely. It got picked up by Asmodee, was renamed Mysterium. This is a cooperative game in which one player plays a ghost, ooh, and then everybody else are psychics at a seance, and you are trying to figure out, solve the crime of like who did, who, what, where. Uh, but the ghost can only communicate in images.
Mm,
So the player's ghost is giving you these really esoteric, weird art cards. And then the psychics are trying to figure out, well, maybe the red in that flower means that it's the chef because the chef has a big red stain on them. Or maybe it's like,
right.
oh, well, it's a fountain. So maybe it's the electricity because the electricity and water would with the toaster because it would fry you if it dropped in. It's whatever. Very good at making up examples on the fly, huh? But I loved this game so much. I've taught it dozens of times. I was carrying it around to conventions, things like that. So glad it got picked up. I prefer they changed the rules and the art a little bit from
Yes.
the Polish edition to the Asmodee edition. I generally prefer the Polish edition, but I'll take it whatever way I can get it. That's Mysterium.
And Mysterium was one that I had a lot of friends who really enjoyed, but I agree with you. I think I preferred the original. Just some of the elements. So we kind of made it more story-like when we played, but yeah, still a solid game. The last slice of pie for me on my list of games of 2015, Potion Explosion. And I know this is one that isn't this the one that started as like an app and then like went to a board game? I don't know. I'm so
It
confused.
it wasn't an app, it was inspired by, but
Ah,
it was a board game inspired by some of those popping games,
got it.
but it
Got
was
it.
never, and then they made a video game version of the board
Right.
game. No.
Okay, got it. I was so confused because I'm like, I don't even know the full story here. So Potion Explosion, exactly that. I love that, they kind of it's hard to kinda do these things in a board game, right? Because when you think of a video game, it's, like, super dynamic, but the fact that they were able to use the marbles, so, you're trying to create, your potions, and you have the little cardboard potions there, and you need to have, like, certain colored marbles and a certain amount of these colored marbles on there in order to complete them, and then they give you abilities, and then, the game ends after a certain amount of them have been completed, and getting those explosions is making sure that when you're, taking marbles out of this little tray thing that they're like hitting colors that match. And then you'll get to take those and then they can keep, the gift of keep on giving of the marbles if all the colors keep, exploding. And they're great for you to finish up those potions. So Potion Explosion for me is great. I played it with my mom. I played it with, people who game regularly. It's just one that's super, super fun. I do prefer the plastic tray
The
thing
hopper, yeah.
because I think I got it when I got the expansion.
Yeah, and I think that's hard to get now.
Really? I
Mhm.
didn't know that. Yeah, so fun game all around. Potion
I
Explosion.
love this one. It's staying in my it's just it does something that no other game does right now. Still,
Yeah.
still, 10
Oh,
years
absolutely.
later. I mean, other games have kinetic conditions and things like that, but other games have the marble thing, but I think Potion Explosion nailed it. Great choice, Mandy.
Absolutely. So good.
And my oh, sad, the last slice of pie. Oh, I want another one because there's so many games. And
Right.
accidentally, another Alexander Pfister game, totally by
Yeah.
accident when I had Isle of Sky. But this was kind of the period of time when Alexander Pfister was kind of exploding, I think, a little bit.
Right.
And this one is Oh My Goods or Royal Goods. It originally released as Oh My Goods in Europe and then was renamed and was brought over to US, or the Western, I don't know the continent, as
Sure.
Royal Goods. But I call it Oh My Goods because it's a more fun name. Oh My Goods is just a card game in which you are collecting resources, creating kind of an engine to generate resources and transforming them and things like that. But it is just a card game in a very small, very portable box. But holy cow, this is one of those games that demonstrates form factor does not
Yeah.
determine complexity or depth in a game, because for a very small box, there's so much depth and there's so much complexity. You've got cards that are workers that you're placing out. You can generate a variety of different resources, and the way that you build that, oh my gosh, it's phenomenal. It absolutely holds up to today. I think they actually just released a big box edition that
Yeah.
collected the base game and the expansions all in one box,
Wow.
which, even though I already own this game, I'm pretty tempted to pick up because that's how much I love it. So,
Oh, no.
Oh
Yeah.
My Goods or Royal Goods 2015. What a year.
That's a very good choice. I think that's a game I played the heck out of. I think got all the expansions, all the bits.
Yep.
Good, great choice. That's a good one. Love it.
Well, there you go, folks. Our second half of the best games from 2015 Game Pie. Appreciate everybody who chimed in on the guild. We'll do another thread there and chime in on what we missed. Now that we've completed serving this pie,
Yeah.
I know there are other titles that we could have put on here. So I want to hear from you and what you would have added. Of course, if you would prefer to just email us your suggestions or your ideas for future game pies, send us an email, saltandsassgames@gmail.com. Or if you want to chime in on that guild thread, it's boardgamegeek.com, guild number 4131, or just search in the guilds for Salt and Sass. Or there's always the socials, Mandy.
Ah, yes, the socials. Well, you could be watching us right now on the YouTube, but we also do streams on the Twitch. So you can find us there at Salt and Sass Games. That's Salt and Sass Games. We are also on Blue Sky. They're slightly different names, Salt and Sass. That's Salt and Sass. You can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, all the things at 613 Mandy. That's Mandy with an I. How about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at 425 Suzanne. I hope that you all are enjoying the early spring out there. Well, I guess if you're in the northern half of the world, in the southern half there, I don't know. Weather, temperatures. I'm very bad at geography, okay, folks? I'm very bad at it. We're just gonna move on. Wherever you
Exactly.
are, I hope that you're staying hydrated and you're playing a lot of games. We will see you next episode.
All right. Bye.